Today we are doing some more work with adding and subtracting fractions, but today our fractions are going to include mixed numerals. So this 4 2/3 that you can see here, this is an example of a mixed numeral. A mixed numeral has a big number at the front, which we call the whole number. Then we have the top and the bottom of our fraction. So the top is the numerator and the bottom is the denominator. So if you see mixed numerals in your questions, we need to be able to convert them into improper fractions. To do that, you multiply the whole number, so whole number, multiply it by the denominator. Okay, so you multiply those first, I'll put them in brackets, and then you're going to add on the numerator. Now that's just to work out the number that goes on the top of the fraction. The number on the bottom of the fraction, the denominator, whatever it was in the beginning, it's going to be the same thing after we turn it into an improper fraction. So the denominator stays the denominator. So let's try that for our 4 2/3 here. Because there is a 3 on the denominator, there's going to be a 3 in my denominator for my answer. Then I'm going to multiply the 4 with the 3, which is 12, and then I'm going to add on the 2. 12 plus 2 makes 14. Okay? Now, before we do any more of those, we also have some review questions of what we did last lesson, adding and subtracting fractions that don't have the same denominator. Now, our process was the two numbers on the bottom, we multiply them together. 2 times 5 makes 10. Then, starting with the top left, I multiply diagonally down. 1 times 5 is 5. Plus, multiply the other way. 3 times 2 is 6. Then, add the top numbers together. 5 plus 6 makes 11 over 10. And that's it. Let's do it again. Question 2. We multiply 7 with 2 to get 14. Then we start from the top down. So 5 times 2 is 10. This time we are subtracting 1 times 7, which is 7. 10 take away 7 is 3 out of 14. Okay, hopefully you remember that from last lesson's work. So back to our mixed numerals. If you see mixed numerals in your questions, always convert mixed numerals into improper fractions. So the rest of it will be the same after that. You'll still do these same 2 steps that we were doing in these questions. We're just adding one extra step at the beginning, which is to change them into improper fractions first. So, question number 1. I have a mixed numeral here, 3 2/3. Let's change it into an improper fraction. The 3 on the bottom stays on the bottom. Multiply the 3 with the 3 and then add on the 2. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 makes 11. Now I want you to do the same thing with the next one. The 3 on the bottom is going to stay on the bottom. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2 makes 14. Okay, then I want to look for a common denominator, but I already have it. They are both 3's already. So I don't need to do anything else other than add the numerators together. 11 plus 14 makes 25 over 3. Question 2. Let's go through the process again. First step is to change each of the numbers into improper fractions. So for the first one, 2 on the bottom stays on the bottom. Then times the 2 with the 2 and add on the 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 makes 5. Do it again for the second one. 3 on the bottom stays on the bottom. 3 times 1 is 3, plus the 1 makes 4. Now this time my denominators are not the same. So I have to do my next two-step process. So the first step is, let's times these denominators together. 2 times 3 is 6. Then times diagonally, 5 times 3 is 15, plus 4 times 2, which is 8. Then I just add the top numbers together. 15 plus 8 makes 23 over 6. So please look, there was 3 lines of working out. Most of the questions that you do will be the same 3 lines. Turn them into improper fractions, then get your common denominator and do your cross multiplying, and then lastly, your final answer by adding the 2 numbers together. All right, let's do it a few more times. 3 lines of working out. First line, turn them into improper fractions. So the 2 on the bottom stays on the bottom. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 makes 7. Minus, now let's do the other one. 5 on the bottom stays on the bottom. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 makes 8. Okay, second equal sign, we need to times our denominators together. 2 times 5 is 10. Times in the diagonal, 7 times 5 is 35. And 8 times 2 is 16. So finally, third line, we are going to take away 35, take away 16, which is 9 over 10. Okay, next question. Oh, wait, sorry, made a mistake. Let's do that again. 35 minus 16 is not 9, it's 19 over 10. Question 4. Let's change our questions into improper fractions. So the 2 on the bottom will stay on the bottom. Then we are going to times the 2 with the 2, which is 4, plus the 1 makes 5. Then minus, do the same thing for the next one. 3 on the bottom stays on the bottom. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 makes 5. Then we want our common denominator. 2 times 3 is 6. Timesing diagonally, 5 times 3 is 15, minus 5 times 2, which is 10. 15 take away 10 is 5 over 6. Okay, so please make sure that when you're doing your practice that for pretty much all questions, unless it's one of these ones that already has the same denominator, but for everything else you should have 3 lines of working out. So you now need to do page 5 to 7 of your workbook.